Welcome to Footnotes, a behind-the-scenes look at what we value and why it matters here at Foothill Church in Glendora, California.
All right, well, welcome back to another episode of Footnotes. Glad to have you listening this morning. My name is Stephen Coppenrath. I'm one of the pastors here on staff. And today we're kind of continuing a conversation we started last week with Daniel Kaler, our connections minister. And this week we're kind of highlighting another area of volunteerism, of service that you can be involved in if you so choose in the season. So today here with Whitney Vallette.
Whoop, whoop.
Welcome, Whit. I
Thanks.
think you had the saying woot woot last time we were with Megan, actually.
That sounds about right. I think
I
just always woot woot. Yeah.
Do you woot woot like at home randomly too?
I do. I'm like, dinner's ready. Woot woot.
I like that.
Diapers changed. Woot woot.
Awesome. Well, Whitney has been super busy, and I'll just say it out loud, important in the season.
Thanks, Steven.
Seriously,
Wow.
There's been a lot of pivoting we've had to do as a ministry, as a church, and there's certainly been a need for clear focus and intentionality about training our kids and being on it with Foothill Kids ministry. So thanks for that, first of all, to you and your team.
Oh, I truly could not do it without Megan and Erica.
Yeah.
The Lord knew to bring this team together in this season, honestly. Like, through all of COVID and even into this like rebuilding of our ministry, like, right. God just knew that we needed to work together. So I'm super grateful for them.
Yeah. Let's talk about them for a minute, actually, because so what are some of your favorite things about Erica and Megan? Like, how do you guys work together and stuff?
Yeah, well, Megan is awesome because she is really creative. Like, I would say she is the creative on our team above all else. And she always pushes us in that way to be more creative and think outside the box of doing things differently, or let's add this on. And most times I'm like, we have to keep it simple. Like, we can't do everything well. Like, we need to sometimes have to reel her back. But a lot of other times I'm like, let's do it. And we see a lot of benefits from those things that Megan has brought on.
That's awesome.
And Erica, I mean, she works so many things. Everything she touches becomes beautiful. Things that I think we've really tried to make better in the past, but we just haven't had the skill set. And Erica just does a great job at that. Videoing, doing our videography and stuff for our lessons, and all social media stuff, and even like things we hand to our volunteers. Like, she just makes them look beautiful. And she makes our processes seamless too. So I think we are like finally at this point as a team where we're like always thinking as like one unit now.
Wow.
Like, we'll like say something and it's like, I was thinking that we should probably, talk about that or discuss this, or, so.
That's like dangerous though too, because you guys are going to be like this like autonomous robot that takes over the world at some point.
We plan to. I mean, that's what our weekly meeting we have to discuss about. We're like Pinky in the Brain.
Yes, there you go.
Yes.
What are we doing today? Yeah. That's awesome. Well, we touched on it already, but let's jump into specifically what's been unique about this season of Kids Ministry Life. Obviously, I think what's interesting about COVID in general is there's this sense that, I was just talking about this with someone the other day, we've all kind of had to pivot and do things differently, even churches down the street and in our community and stuff as well. But what do you feel has been unique at Foothill about kids ministry in this season?
We've had to pivot a lot, but I think we've tried to really keep engagement along kind of every area of ministry we're doing right now. So we're still online. We still have everything available for them, and trying to keep that engagement with those kids and making it exciting for them to actually, attend online. I feel like that's been something that we've got a lot of good feedback from parents, having their kids attend online. And so, I feel like that's something that maybe is different to us. And I think part of that too is like Megan and I, we have theater backgrounds. So we just are able to use those gifts in a different way. And Erica obviously does a great job editing those for us. And then, we have, of course, amazing volunteers on a Sunday morning that just really go above and beyond to make families feel welcomed, to have kids just really get engaged in class, and they're really trying to get to know them. So I think between those ends, because that's kind of where we're at right now, online or in person, just trying to do both of those things really well. And not to say that other churches in the area aren't doing that, but I think they can tend to like, well, we have most of our congregations, in person. So let's, lean toward putting our eggs in that basket. So I think we're just trying to do the best we can do in both of those areas, because what's the reality is there's so many kids that are still online, and we don't want them to feel like they're not part of our ministry, because they are,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think obviously, just to be clear, that's not a comparative statement per se for other places, but it's more just contextually thinking about our folks. And by the time this airs, we'll have then been kind of in 3 places as far as kids: outside, online, and inside.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
This past weekend, when people are hearing this, we'll have made that change. So yeah, there's just certainly just a lot of different ways to minister and have to think about like reaching different groups of people in our church.
Yeah, and their comfortability level too.
Yeah,
so it's been a very unique season. We've just really had to be okay with the ideas and plans that we have just going out the door in a couple weeks. So we may think that, we're set here and we're going to be like this for a while, and 2 weeks later the guidelines change, and so our ministry changes, you know, which is all good things. But I think that's been like some growing pains for us of like learning to be flexible in those areas.
Right. For sure. Let's talk a little bit about just kind of your context with serving and the church in general. We're obviously in the serving push right now at church, and we'd love to encourage and just see this catalyst of more volunteers come into ministry areas and serve. And I think one of the things that may be helpful is just having people hear from some of our leaders and how they kind of grew up serving, maybe as a kid or maybe as a teenager. Like, what's kind of been your history with serving in local church? Yeah,
so I actually started serving at a young age. My parents instilled that in us. They modeled that for us. They were very, very involved in our church growing up. And I actually started serving in kids ministry first.
Oh, no way. Okay.
My mom kind of helped lead a Sunday school class. And so I would go and I'd help her with the kids. And actually, they called it children's church, not Sunday school.
Okay.
Yeah. There was Sunday school and then there was children's church. So
some good alliteration.
Yeah. So anyway, I started there. And then, growing up, I was involved in youth ministry and within that church, like leadership in that, and even on the worship team.
Oh, really? Worship team?
Yeah, I played the tambourine.
Yeah.
No, you guys, I mean, some say that I was very, very gifted.
I think one of the things that people miss on these podcasts, and maybe we'll do this in the future, but like just Whitney is like throwing her face right now. So it's just, it's great.
It's true though. I got the like, like down. So
all right.
It was good.
We'll have to see that in person sometime.
Just so you know, the quality was not like Foothill
quality. It's not like Ike or anything. Busting on the street.
He does it like with his foot.
He does all the things.
I cannot do that. Yeah. So and there was a brief moment where I played the ukulele on our worship team. So the bar was low, you guys. The bar was low.
So you were in the worship team,
serving the Lord, making a joyful noise.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then even transitioning, coming to Foothill Church, I got involved right away. Actually, my second week just attending here, I started serving. A friend of mine introduced me to someone that was serving in the VIP tent, which was what we called it at the time. And so I joined that ministry. I served under John White.
Yeah.
We had to wear these like red shirts that said in white letters VIP on them.
Or VIP.
VIP, the VIPs. I'd be welcoming people, and that was awesome. And then I even served in student ministry. So, and then obviously, and then into kids ministry after that time. So I kind of done quite a bit here at Foothill, and I've really got my feet wet in a lot of areas. But kids ministry called me home, at the end there.
Well, say more about that. Like, how did at some point kind of your professional world kind of overlap with serving the church?
So actually Chris Gannon, he's the one that was like, hey, you should come and start serving in kids ministry. And I was like, sure. I hadn't actually considered that before. I don't know why I didn't, but once I started doing it, I was like, this is actually really fun. I love the kids. It was great to get to know all of them. And then he was like, we have this job opening. You should apply. And so I did. And honestly, it was such a great fit. And that was like almost 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would have never pictured to be working in ministry. I mean, like I said, my parents were really involved growing up in church ministry. And actually my dad, when I was in college, became a pastor of our church growing up. And so I guess it's just funny that I would have ended up in ministry too. I wouldn't have picked that because I was actually on the trajectory to do like theater and acting and all of that kind of stuff. And I really thought that was where the Lord was leading me, but this is actually where God wanted me. He wanted me to use my gifts in this way. Yeah. So that's a huge blessing because I prayed for that for a long time. Like, how can I use the gifts that you've given me, Lord, to glorify you? And so God pointed me here. And I feel like he's expanded those gifts in a lot of ways and helped me grow in a lot of ways. So it's been a huge blessing. So
yeah, I mean, and we get the benefit too of being on the receiving end of those gifts as well. So you and Megan are awesome with your videos and just your general energy on staff. It's awesome. So yeah, you've been at this about 5 years then in kids ministry.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that you've learned a few things here and there. Like what do you feel like is something that you just realized over time that, hey, this is kind of what works in kids ministry for kind of motivating them to come back and volunteer and give their time that way?
Daniel kind of shared a little bit about it last week, but honestly telling our volunteers the why.
Yeah.
And we each week in kids ministry, we say we have like it's called a heartbeat. And it's kind of our it helps get us ready for the morning. And so with that we do like a little chant. Do you want me to do it for you, Stephen?
I do.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Here we go. And volunteers, if you're out there listening right now, you better do it.
Turn the volume up right now.
Turn the volume up. You chant along with me. You know what's coming. Okay, so we say, in Foothill Kids, we want to see our volunteers engaged. We want to see our kids growing, and we want to see our parents discipling. And so that's really the why behind our ministry.
That's awesome.
Reminding them that there's like 3 tiers to our ministry. There's them as the volunteers. Yeah. There's the children that they're preaching the gospel to, and then there's the parents that we want to help set a foundation in their children so that they can have, really intentional conversations with their kids at home.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, it's great. And I mean, that's what's so different about kids ministry too is, and this is a big thing we remind our volunteers each week, is that they get to preach the gospel to children every week. Like, this is what God calls us to do, you know, and they can tangibly do that each and every week. And they may not see the fruits of that right away, but, our hope is that in the future that will, the seeds that they've helped to plant by being faithful, being called into serving in this ministry, will help those kids just thrive in their walk with the Lord.
That's great. Yeah. So I think thinking about motivation, that's telling them the why, sharing just even a vision for the future, of how it's going to impact. Let's get a little bit more even maybe shallow too. What kind of snacks do you motivate them with as well? What's kind of your go-to?
So, I think our biggest thing in kids ministry is puns. So any kind of snack or thing we can give them that has a pun related to it, we will do that. So
I don't even know like what you're gonna say right now.
Yeah. So oh gosh. I do not know how we would do it without you. Okay. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah. We would give them lifesavers and we would say, "You're a lifesaver."
Do they still make lifesavers?
They do.
Oh, okay.
I think they do. Well, they did like 2 years ago when we did that one. We don't want to recycle, right away. Yeah. So we give some time.
I just want to make sure people understand we're not giving them like old lifesavers.
Oh, no,
candy,
no.
Right? So,
no. But we give, like that. Again, we do always tie it to a pun somehow. We gave breakfast burritos. Yeah. Iced coffee. We do lots of different fun things. Yeah. And we love our volunteers really well. So we try and take them out for lunch anytime we can too.
That's awesome. So like lately, obviously with kind of just COVID and us being in a season, what's kind of been something you guys have been focusing on in kids ministry? Just as far as maybe volunteer training or you talked about your heartbeat.
Yeah, I mean, so we have just been having to change our ministry so rapidly every couple weeks. I think the biggest thing that we've just been, and a lot of this is new for us because when we were outdoors, we didn't need a ton of volunteers. So now that we're like kind of upping back up to what we used to be pre-COVID in a way, it's kind of reminding ourselves of like, okay, this is what this ministry is all about. So that's kind of underlining what's happening each week, but we're also really instilling our volunteers like the spirit of flexibility. Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, they might come one Sunday and we're in the gym and we're doing this and this is how our check-in process looks. Totally. And then in 2 weeks when they come again to serve, they're in a different room, check-in's in a different place. Huddle, all the things are changing every week. And so I think we've just been reminding them like, hey, we all have the spirit of flexibility. Even the way in which I've trained you to do this, like the guidelines have changed. Now it's going to be like this. Wow. Yeah. So they've been so great. I think they have all just been really anxious to get back into the classroom with these kids, to serve those families and to be with the kids. Like, honestly, they just, I think, are so eager for that. Their hearts are so willing to go with whatever kind of new thing we're throwing at them in this season. So flexibility is where we're at.
That's awesome.
And what's great too is the kids have been really flexible because they have been changing alongside. I mean, some of our preschooler and toddlers, they haven't been separated from their parents in so long. So even giving reminding our volunteers, give those kids grace when they're coming in, because some of these kids don't even know what it looks like to be in a kids ministry for the first time. This is all new to them. So it's been a unique season for that. But cool. It's been really fun.
And just, I want to throw on top of that too, just as a parent of four myself, being in your kids ministry, I just appreciate too the focus on safety as well. Yeah. I mean, praise God, we haven't had any COVID cases since we've opened up.
No,
so that's
not
been
that
awesome.
I have been aware of.
Yeah, the Lord's helped us in that way, and
Definitely.
obviously, just whatever you and the team are doing too, as far as just social distancing and all those things, is working as well. So
we are trying our darndest to make everything safe for everybody. Yeah,
wouldn't it be awesome if we can get through the season without having there being any kind of outbreak at all?
Yeah.
Well, hey, you got the microphone in front of you. We're talking to some captive ears here. What are some of your greatest volunteer needs right now, kind of in the life of the church? Yeah,
we need, because we are reopening and rebuilding our ministry, we've lost a lot of volunteers on the way just to, maybe their comfortability level. Yeah. But we are hoping to reopen our infant room. And that we need volunteers for our 9 and 11 o'clock services. So if you're a baby whisperer out there, you love to hold the babies, you just want to cuddle with them, you want to play with them, you want to do the baby talk, all the things. This is your call right now to tell you that you need to sign up.
It's a little dramatic right now.
I don't know.
The Lord is calling you.
The Lord is calling you.
Yeah.
So we need infant volunteers if that's you. And then we also need kids club volunteers. Now, kids club, I don't think, probably a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, explain what that is. Yeah.
Yeah, so we offer this thing called Kids Club, which is for kids whose parents volunteer. That way, parents that, let's say they volunteer at the 9 o'clock service, they're not able to attend that 9 o'clock service. Their children are attending our kids service at 9 o'clock. At the 11 o'clock service, the parents can go attend service while their children go and attend Kids Club, which is basically a place for the kids to play, have pizza, snacks, and they get to hang out. And then, so it's just a fun place to hang out and eat pizza. So if you like to eat pizza and play games, then this is the area for you to serve.
Yeah, that's a pretty broad appeal right there.
Oh my gosh, everyone should sign up for this. Free pizza, you guys. You'll have lunch taken care of every week. Plus, you'll get to hang out with some cool kids, and you can school them on the basketball court. Kids
Club really is a really amazing part of our ministry as far as the way that we're ministering to volunteers. And Whitney and the team oversee that. And I think just it can't be overstated. There's a sense of when you're asking volunteers to sign up for something, they may miss out on church. There may be some kind of sacrifice that they have to endure. But I love that we do this. I love that Kids Club is an option for people, that they can still attend church, that their kids aren't going to just kind of hear the same program again. They get fed, they get watched, and just really equipping people to volunteer well.
Yeah, so you're almost serving the volunteers in this case.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is great.
That's great. Well, hey, as we wrap this up, just love to hear what's new with the Vallette family. Maybe even just, hey, have you guys, watched any good TV lately?
Yeah, so Tim and I just finished watching the first season of Renovation Island.
Oh, okay.
It's on HGTV. It's actually kind of crazy. This couple buys literally a resort on this island in the Bahamas, and it's a disaster. And it's all the issues that they come upon when trying to renovate.
That's totally relatable to me. I mean, that just happened to me last year. So
I feel like this is happening to me right now. We are redoing our backyard, so we're putting in grass. We're literally every weekend we're leveling dirt. I think for the last 6 months we've been leveling dirt in our backyard. So we removed a pool, so that's why we're leveling dirt.
That's quite a job.
And we removed it ourselves. Yeah. So just that could probably
Avery
give you a
out there.
insight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Avery was out there sitting on T's lap while he's jackhammering. No, I'm just kidding. But it has been. Oh my gosh, it has been a very large project.
So the vision is to not have the pool and have grass instead in the backyard.
Have grass,
basically.
Grass in a cement area, but the cement area needs to be perfectly level because of course Tim wants to do the work himself, so he wants to assist the cement guy in doing it. So Tim is very handy. He loves. He takes pride and ownership in accomplishing building things and renovating things. And so I'm like, more power to you. But then he's like trying to teach
Tim.
me. And I'm like, cool. I don't really care about the grass or the drain systems. Do I have to help you? And I'm like, okay, I need to help you. You need my help. But So
Renovation Island.
Oh, Renovation. Yeah.
No, it's okay. Let's keep it together here. So Renovation Island.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, is this a show where they have like sometimes these wild and crazy budget items that will like they'll include in their plans at all? Like
yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Actually, but I feel like this is what happens. The wife, this is classic like storyline here. The wife is like, you need to buy, it needs to be this kind of flooring, you know, marble flooring or whatever. And the husband's like, yeah, it's way too expensive. Right. You know, the whole piping system broke in this whole quadrant of like hotel block. We have to actually deal with that and not like this. So it's interesting to see that kind of dynamic between the families, but it's also interesting to see these people that have like globs of money to be able to afford a renovation like this
on an island,
yeah. And they run into issues all the time, and it's like, okay,
they're just like us.
Yeah, we run into issues with our drain system. It wasn't perfectly level, and know. So it's funny. It's good, but yeah, the backyard is coming along slowly. Cool. Grass is finally starting to grow. The mini YouTube videos that I've watched with Tim.
YouTube is helpful.
About growing grass.
For sure. Fun. Well, looking forward to seeing that in person at some point.
Me too.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Me too.
Yeah. Well,
maybe next time I'm on the podcast, we'll be
in your backyard.
In my back. Oh, sure. I wasn't implying that. I meant maybe it'll be done. But give us 6 months. Okay, so I won't be back onto that.
That's great. Well, hey, Whit, thanks so much for your time. And hey, just even as we kind of wrap this up and think about just pointing people to an action step, if people want to volunteer with you in kids ministry or perhaps in other ministry areas too.
Who would want to serve anywhere else? Come on. We're the best. We have fun, you guys. Yeah. You'd have so much fun with us. Okay. You don't even know.
Oh, Whitney's yelling right now. Okay. So if they wanted to do that, how would they serve?
Yes, go to foothill.church/serve and you can sign up there for kids ministry. I'm just kidding. And you can fill out the application and then we'll be in touch about kind of the next steps about live scanning and getting you guys into Shadow. So we'd love to meet you. We'd love for you guys to join our team. We really do have a lot of fun.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, Whit.
Thanks for having me.
All right, well, we're out of time, but thanks for joining us for our podcast, Footnotes. Be sure to subscribe, and we'd also appreciate you sharing this resource with others, and even leaving us a favorable review if you feel so inclined. So until next time, Foothill, peace be with you.
Whoop, whoop!